So the thing is that React Native ecosystem is moving super fast nowadays. And that's actually a good thing because we got new libraries. We got a couple of new versions of React Native every year. We have a couple of new Expo SDK versions every year. We have new ways of doing things, the new architecture, and everything is done to make React Native more stable and more used out there. And the challenge is to keep track of everything. One way I'm keeping track of everything that's going on in the React Native world is checking once a year the state of React Native. This is already the third edition, and today I decided to go together with you to take you on a journey to explore the results of the 2024 State of React Native survey. I haven't checked it out yet. I only skimmed through some of the stuff, but I personally use it very often to know what's happening out there. And it's a very good exercise to know because in a lot of cases we are in our small bubble. Maybe you will only talk with developers from your organization and you get used to the things that have been working for a very long time. But there might be things that can work even better. So that's why we're going to go ahead and open up the results of 2024 survey and go through all of the pages here together in this stream. Everyone who is joining live, hello, let me know how are you doing, guys? And feel free to share your opinions as we go through the survey. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the developer background. This survey was taken by more than 3,500 developers, and it is created by Software Mention. So huge shout out to Software Mention for doing this already the third year and providing such a great resource. So the first one, let's go ahead and check what is the background of developers working with React Native, where they're coming from. And actually the first place here is their background is a React developer. So this is actually a good thing to know because most people coming to React Native, they're coming from React. They have some React experience and they want to build mobile applications. And that's, as we can see, one of the most common ways people get into React Native. Now, if we go next, let me maybe zoom in a little bit, right? Come on. Oh no. Come on. Developer background. Okay, I think that was good. Together with React developers, we see 40% of people coming from front end, but maybe something else than React, such as Vue or Angular, if it's still around. And 37% of people are coming from backend, which is one thing that is super interesting here is that so few developers are coming from native development. Only 13% of React Native developers are coming from Android background, and only 10% are iOS developers. So we see a lot of web developers coming to React Native to build mobile applications, but we don't see Android native developers going one layer up to React Native to be able to build cross-platform applications. So that's also something to know. And 14% actually started with React Native. My personal experience, I think I'm in the first part, like around 6 or 7 years ago, when I started with React Native. I had already experience with React, so it was easy for me to get started with it, but I was more like into back end and front end and full stack, so I was somewhere here. But I hear that a lot of people starting with React Native are doing great as well. All right, so what's the purpose of React Native? Like, why are developers using it? We see 85% are using it professionally. So we're not messing around here. We are professionals, which is great to see. Desktop. 74% of developers are building on a Mac OS, 6 on Linux, and 20 on Windows. This is actually surprising to me because I was thinking that I'm in my little bubble where most of developers are using macOS, and I was thinking that actually the majority should be on Windows. But from this survey, we see that it's only 20% on Windows, and actually the majority are on the macOS. Still, I think the response of the survey should be taken with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, most of the people who answer the survey are people who are following us on Twitter, following developers on Twitter, following content creators, in a way, like it creates like a bubble around it. So I know that because I'm talking with some other companies that are using React Native, and in their like old ways of doing it, they're not even using Expo, they're not using like the modern stuff, they are very far behind of how they are using React Native. So these are companies that are just building, they're making money, and they don't try to to catch up with everything that's going on, and they definitely don't go ahead and fill in this survey. So that's why I'm thinking, like, especially here with Windows, it's interesting to see that only 20% of developers are on Windows. Let me know, what are you using? I'm actually curious. I'm going to run a poll: macOS, Windows, or Linux. And let's see what you guys are using. Top React Native app user count. So the question is, what is the user count of the best application that you have built? Not sure if like it also includes, probably yes, like if you're working in a company and you have done a couple of features in an application that have millions of downloads, maybe it also counts like as a top React Native app for you. Yeah, you've worked on the most in the last year. Okay, so this is where we stand here. 13% only me, 21% from 2 to 100, which makes sense because, yeah, like the most amount of applications will have the least amount of results, and only a small percentage will go on to reach like millions of developers. But actually we see that starting from 1K to, yeah, in the range of 1K or 10Ks, we see a good growth from 14, 16, and 17. So in that range, the most popular kind of application is 10K to 100K downloads. And then like we get into the less applications that are between 100K to 1 million and 1 million. Here we have around 300 developers working on applications with 1 million downloads and more, which is also impressive. Like, this is a very healthy graph to see here. If it would be way more skewed to like the top part, that would be like, okay, probably React Native is not used that much professionally. But seeing that, not looking at the first two and looking at the fifth one, seeing this one being the most popular one, 10 to 100K, that tells something. And also so many more applications with 1 million downloads. So if a question is still like, is React Native good in production or for huge applications? I think this graph shows it that it actually is very, very good solution for that. And a lot of people are choosing it, and we are developing applications with more than 1 million downloads. Okay, so what's the team size? We see that a lot of them are solo developers, which is interesting. Almost 40% of them are solo developers. That's I'm wondering if these are indie developers, like independent developers working for themselves or building applications of their own, or if they are working in a company and they're the solo React Native developer in that company, in the mobile development team. So that's also curious. But as we can see, like the other most common option is 3 to 5, like small teams. I think this makes a lot of sense. Like you don't need like huge teams to build this kind of stuff. The solo developer is interesting for me, and for one reason, I'm happy about this because with everything that I do, like I'm trying to push developers to take risks and build applications on their own. So yeah, if you're watching this, as you can see, a solo developer can go ahead and build, like on average, like a solo developer, it's pretty realistic to build like a 10K to 100K downloads application and monetize it. If we look at the most common ones, you know. What about Flutter? We are gonna get into the other cross-platform frameworks by the end. So we're gonna see what's happening with Flutter, but not very in-depth. Target platforms. Obviously, Android and iOS are at the top. That was the main purpose React Native was created, to build cross-platform applications for Android and iOS. Android is leading a little bit, which I don't know why, but the difference is not that big. And web is the third options with 22%. I was expecting web to be higher, but we still that means that still React Native is far from achieving that truly universal state where you build like everything with React Native, both Android, iOS, and web. There is still probably a very long way to go until we at least get like Android, iOS, and web. Nonetheless, web nowadays is way easier than in the past. Like you can do so much more. Speaking about like navigation libraries, component libraries, UI, styling, and so on. And there is a lot of work put into bringing together web and React Native closer by both the React team, the Expo team, the community, the open source libraries. Like that's impressive, and we should say the web part growing in the following years as well. What's cool to see is that it's not only Android, iOS, and web. We see a lot of other platforms as well. So this actually makes React Native powerful because you write once and you can actually build for anything, like a macOS application. You can build for Windows, and you can build even for Linux if we're talking about desktop application. Another very interesting platform which I'm actually thinking to give it a try more is the TV apps. So for Android TV, for TV OS, I think there is a very huge market there. Everyone has a TV in their living room. And I was looking that there is quite a big lack of applications on TV, other than the most popular ones, obviously like Netflix and so on. But yeah, this is an opportunity so for you as well to check. Like Vision OS, not sure how many people are still using a Vision OS, but React Native can run on can build application for Vision OS. And I actually tried by the Call Stack team has built something, and I tried it on Vision OS, and it's pretty cool. But the problem is like usage. I'm not sure like how many people still have a Vision OS and use it constantly. Main daily platforms. What do we see here? Like what platforms do you use to preview developing your React Native application? So iOS Simulator is at the top, and that's because on Android there is a bigger split between using a physical device and Android emulator. Might be because of performance, and Android emulator might be like iOS Simulator for me are running like way smoother than an emulator, so that's maybe why the Android is split more into physical device. And actually physical device is the second. I just realized that it's not even emulator. So the way it works, like most probably when testing on iOS you're using a simulator, when testing on Android you're using a physical device, which is interesting. And on physical device on Android is actually easier to test. On iOS Simulator, you need to sign a development build for that, which is not super hard, but it's like an extra step for security reasons. And iOS physical device is only 51 here. Some people are actually using web browser. Contribution to React Native, only 7% of responses contributed to React Native. I'd encourage you to check it out and try it as well. I haven't contributed to React Native directly, which maybe I should look into it, and maybe this year is going to be the first year I'm going to do that. Or you can also contribute to open source libraries. We see 25% of respondents contributed to open source libraries. Perfect. Released React Native apps. How many applications have you released? That's very similar to the most popular one, and we see that the most popular answer here is from 2 to 5 applications. 1,406 people launched 2 to 5 applications. What can we understand from this one? I think I myself thinking about going more seriously into the indie development journey and building applications. My idea would be to build one applications every couple of months. So I'd be more into like 5 and 10 or stuff like that. But anyway, like 2 to 5, it's not a lot of projects and it's a lot of results, which is great. Targeting mobile OS, reasonably current, okay. Industry sectors, this, I'm not sure how interested we are in. Applications, a lot of them are in finance, health and fitness, and education. Okay. And that was the developer background. Following that right away with some demographics, developer background, the next one is demographics. We see that from the people who answer the survey, a lot of them are coming from USA, 13%, 10% from India and France. Actually, let me go ahead and open my analytics, and we can compare a little bit like the demographics from my channel and the ones from there. Because I also have kind of the same, like speaking about the first one, it's kind of the same split. Come on. If we look, here it is. So if we look at my channel top geographies, yeah, it's India, United States, United Kingdom. And here we see USA, India, France, Poland. Poland, that's a lot of people in Poland. On my channel, I don't get a lot of people from Poland. Probably they all already are masters of React Native and they're not watching tutorials. Perfect. Going on, what do we have here is how many of them completed the survey. The age, the typical React Native developer is 20 to 29, but we also have a lot of people in their 30s using React Native. Years of experience, the most common one is 6 to 10. So people are sticking with React Native. That's cool. Oh, it's as a programmer or studying programming. Okay, not specifically React Native. Maybe React Native is more recent, but in general in programming, 6 to 10 years. Okie dokie. Company size, the most common one is quite a huge company, 100 to 1,000 developers in the company. This is the most common one. And the next one is what, like somewhere here, 2150 to 5, like a small company. But the distribution is like very, like it's all over the place. But at the same time, probably the results are skewed because if from the same company, like from the same big company, like 100 developers come here and vote, they will get a lot of votes. This part is going to get a lot of votes. Anyway, going next, yearly income, that's a very interesting one. So it grows, in the most common yearly income for a React Native developer is 50K to 100K at 26%. And 100K to 200K at 18%. That's good. That's nice. Even considering that, if we look at the demographics, like in US, you get like probably you can easily get a 150 were over 200K, but in Europe and other parts of the world, like India, France, Poland, Great Britain, having a salary of 50K to 100K, I think that's a very well salary for developers. Going on, higher education. The majority have a educational degree, a higher education degree, and very few of them have it, but in another field. So very few people from our field come to use React Native. Even though in our course in React Native Mastery, we have students that are coming from different fields, like from being a designer or a product manager, and they want to get into the product development. So for me, I saw like a lot of cases, but overall, probably not a lot of cases, people switching jobs to programming because might be intimidating. But now with AI, maybe it's going to be easier. And for the gender, we see 96% of men. In my case on the channel, I think we are doing way better. We are 91%. And actually, let me do it for the last year. And for the last year, it's even better. We have even more female watchers, more than 15%, which for a programming channel, as comparing with other creators, like this is a lot. So I'm very happy for a lot of females to be interested in React Native. Perfect. What else? There was even the yearly income or company size or what? It was interesting versus income. So here, yes, we see under the countries, there is also a tab to see the income per country. So yeah, we see that the income for USA is skewed here, and Canada is the one with bigger as well. Okay, perfect. Before we move on, I actually wanted to let you know another way that you can stay up to date with React Native and also interact with the React Native communities. Everyone behind React Native from Expo, from Software Mesh, and from the community, from Twitter, from YouTube, all of them are going to be at App.js conference this May. So the conference is from 28 to 30 May. This is the conference that I started going, I think 3 years ago. I went every year until then, and I'm never going to stop going there just because of the people and the vibe that you get there. Like, it's so amazing to meet everyone in real life. The conference is in the beautiful Krakow. There is a lot to tell about Krakow as well, like the food there, the architecture, everything is perfect. So I'm going to be at App.js, so if you want to join me, now is the time. Now you can buy a ticket. And the conference is 3 days. The first day is going to be with workshops. You can check it for the workshops on the website. Like, you can learn about animations from Catalin and Casper, and a lot of other amazing workshops where you get your hands down one full day of developing and learning and mastering from one of the best people in the industry. Then we have 2 days of the main event with talks from more than 27 speakers, 24 talks, more than 500 people joining. So this is the place where everyone from React Native is announcing the big things. Everyone is sharing their journey, their news. So it's a place where you want to be. Perfect. So if you want to join, you can use the link in the description of today's video, or you can simply go to buy tickets, and here you should be able to use the promo code notjust.dev, notjust.conf. I'm going to put it also in the chat, and you can find the link in the description of the video. Let me copy it again. Oh, here it is. And the best part about that is actually meeting our community. So if you're going to be there, don't feel shy, approach me, and I would love to meet you in person as well. Okay, so while you're buying your tickets, we can go next to the platform APIs. I also see the poll. And yes, indeed, a lot of people are using macOS, but in our community, only 43% are using macOS and 43% are using Windows. So it's a split between macOS and Windows. That's interesting. That it's not such a big difference than we saw here in the survey. But in our case, we are a bit less statistically significant with only 60 votes, and the survey here has more than 3,000 votes. Windows and macOS at the same time. How do you do that? So going on to platform APIs, these are platform-specific APIs that we can interact with from React Native, and what makes React Native great. Like why you wouldn't build like a web application. The most common one is camera. I'm not sure how interesting is this slide, but we can look at some of the most important one. Camera, to get access to camera, make photos, videos. Notifications, this is a huge one because that's a good way of engaging with users and bringing them back in the application. We also see that 8% of responders had a negative experience with notifications. Because notifications are hard. Permissions, deep links. Deep links as well is a topic that a lot of people used, but also 10% of people had negative experience. Maybe it's because of challenges, like maybe like by seeing more people use Expo Router, we're gonna see less challenges with deep links. Persistent storage, appearance, web view, maps, haptics. What else? Yeah. Let's look at the pain points. What are the most challenging parts of platform-specific APIs? And we see that one of them, like the first one, is notifications, and right below it is background processes. The problem with notification is that they are quite complicated. Like we have to write a lot of boilerplate code to handle them. There are a lot of differences between platforms like iOS and Android in how they handle notifications, what data these notifications can have. And there is like in general a very large surface area with us having to understand how things are working at multiple levels. Because yeah, local notifications are quite easy, but if we get into the remote notifications, here we talk about like servers, here we talk about FCMs, APIs, tokens, refresh, to check if it was received or not, different types of notifications, different platforms. So yeah, I understand notifications are a challenge. Actually, this was the topic that I'm teaching in the last module of React Native Mastery. And if you didn't know, React Native Mastery is the course that I've been working on for the last year. It's open to enroll. Currently, it has 6 out of 7 projects, and we just finished recording the last project. So the last project here is the Ultimate Social Media, and here I'm teaching everything about push notifications. This project, only this project that is upcoming, and I saw someone was asking when it's coming. The answer is by the middle of March, we are supposed to have it finished. It's recorded, now we are editing it. And only this module has 35 lessons with more than 30 gigabytes of raw footage. So it's a lot of things to process, but it teaches you really in depth like about push notifications, besides everything else like remote data fetching, API routes, and so on. And we actually cover a lot of these platform APIs that we see here, like the camera, notifications, permissions, deep links, persistent storage. We cover appearance somewhat. We cover, yes, for dark mode and light mode. File system we cover. Media library we cover. So it's a lot of things that you're gonna learn about platform APIs from React Native Mastery. And if you're interested, the course is open to enroll, so you can go to notjust.dev/React Native Mastery, and there is already 6 projects, 6 modules that will teach you everything about React Native and Expo. Now going back to the pain points. Actually, this one, like I was thinking more recently, more like now that I'm more invested into notifications and covering it in the course, I was thinking like, what are the pain points? Because yeah, it's hard, and I was thinking like maybe that's an opportunity for building something around notifications, like a tool that would help developers handle them better. Let me know like what's for you the hardest part about notifications. Let me know in the chat. And we see here there are a lot of opinions. Let me go ahead and do it like this. Let's go to ChatGPT and say summarize the main pain points from here. What? Business content creation? No, I need this one. Come on. Summarize the main pain points. So what are the main pain points from people? The setup complexity, lack of built-in support. What is lack of built-in support? No built-in notification support in some frameworks. I don't understand that. Setting up push notification, yeah, especially with third-party libraries, difficult, that doesn't work out of the box. Yeah, setting up notifications is one of the hardest part. Initial setup is not automated and requires too much manual configuration. Okay. Platform inconsistency and lack of documentation. Testing and debugging. Yeah, testing and debugging. Yeah, I understand. Issues with Expo and Firebase integration. Like features like scheduling notifications. Customization and feature limitation, reliable issue, deep linking, handling. Linking from notification is inconsistent. Difficult to debug. Okay, that's something to keep in mind. And I'm curious also about your opinion, guys, in the chat. What challenges do you have with notifications? If we go next, the other pain points from platform APIs, we have background processing. We have deep linking, which probably should be fixed by simply using Expo router, because it's automatically handled for you. Maps, permissions, and so on. Let's go next. And the next one is libraries. And this one is a huge page with information about a lot of libraries. So it's good to know like what libraries are people using, which one they are happy with. Here we see that the green one, they used it and have a positive experience. The red one, they used it, but they had a negative experience. And there is also comments here that you can read. So this is a great way to see like what people are using out there. There are 52 libraries, but I'm not going to go into each of them. I'm going to scroll down to this one, changes over time. And this is going to tell us a little bit a better story at a glance. For example, looking at state management libraries, we have a graph where on the X, we have used it at the top and have not used it at the bottom. So the more high the point is, the more people have used it. And on the left, we have negative opinions, and on the right, we have positive opinions. So top right corner, this is the one that a lot of people are using it and have positive experience. And in the bottom right is the ones that are emerging. Maybe they are not used so much, but they have like a strong positive opinion. So we're gonna look here. For example, we see that Redux and Redux Toolkit are decreasing in both usage and in opinion. It's not decreasing too much in usage vertically, but in negative opinions, it's decreasing a little bit more. I don't want it to fail, but I'm very happy that people have found better solution for that. We see that React built-ins are also React built-ins here. We're talking about the use state and use callback or use state, the context API and so on. Not sure why it's dropping. Maybe because our solutions are being adopted more and they are easier to use, and that's why people use them more often than React built-ins. Even though like in a normal application, you cannot do everything you shouldn't do everything at the global state. Like even if you can, you should probably pick and choose like which state is local for a component and which one is global. From the ones that stand out is definitely Zustand. This one is gaining a lot of usage. It's even like went above the midline, and it's also quite far to the right, which means that people have a lot of positive experience with Zustand. And actually in React Native Mastery, obviously we are teaching how to use Zustand. Here it is. Another one is Jotai, which is built. It's a global state management library built by the same guys that built Zustand, but it has a different purpose. With Jotai, is like really simple, and it's very similar to how a use state works. It's based on atoms, so you just extract state at a global level, and that's it. Like you don't have to learn a lot of new stuff. So I think Jotai like is also quite good one. And I'm happy to see it being used quite more often than in 2023, and also keeping like quite a positive experience. What else we have here? Mobax. We have Mobax State 3. We have Recoil and X State also gaining popularities. So other than Redux and Redux Toolkit, everything is gaining popularity here, and people are moving from React built-ins to these solutions. Going to the next one is data fetching. What do we have here? Top right, we have Fetch API and Axios, even though decreasing a little bit in usage. I think they are strong here at the top right, like very top right. A lot of people are using it and positive opinions, even though a very, very slight decrease. We have Tanstack Query, another one with a lot of positive opinion, growing slightly in usage from 2023 to 2024, but still it's in the top part of heavy used. So a lot of people, Tanstack Query I think has become the de facto data fetching library, which in fact is not really data fetching. It's more like a state management, but I also like to call it data fetching. It's easier to understand it that way. And in React Native Mastery, guess what? We are definitely talking and teaching Tanstack Query in detail. What else? Apollo Client doesn't change that much. Come on, here it is. Doesn't change that much in usage, but in negative opinion it changes. So I was using Apollo Client often, specifically for GraphQL APIs in the past. I had like mixed feelings with it. Like sometimes I really loved it. Sometimes I was like, oh, what's happening there? But I don't know why recently like less people are using it. I'd imagine like while less people are using it, maybe they are moving to Tanstack Query, but why they have a negative experience? There should be something there. I don't know. Relay, we see here with green, has gained a lot of popularity. Don't remember if I used Relay actually, but it's something good to know. On the opinion, like it's quite to the left on the negative side, but it's gaining a lot of usage. So there should be something there as well. And other library like SVR, TRPC also here. If we go next to the navigation, what do we see? We see one of the furthest traveling from previous year is Expo Router. It was launched in 2022 with very little usage there at the bottom. In 2023, it grew a lot, and in 2024, it grew even more in usage. So probably with more usage, there is a little bit more negative opinions as well compared to 2023. But nonetheless, like, it's impressive to see just in 3 years, Expo Router almost reaching React Navigation in usage. And even though we see React Navigation dropping here, I would take it with I'd be careful to take any conclusion here, because Expo Router is built on top of React Navigation. So even though maybe people don't use React Navigation directly, they're using Expo Router, and at the end of the day, they are still using React Navigation. So don't think like the usage dropped, seeing like Expo Router gaining. It's more probably people, instead of saying I use both React Navigation and Expo Router, they just said I use Expo Router. Here, yeah, I think like the state of navigation is also quite clear, with React Navigation dominating this part for a very long time, and now more recently like Expo Router. So if you go with either of these option, I think you're going to be good. I don't see a lot of reasons other than personal preferences why not going with Expo Router. Maybe if you don't like file-based navigation system for some reason, you can go with React Navigation. But if you like the file-based, Expo Router is perfect because it's built on top of React Navigation and comes with a lot of more features on top of it. Solito, why is dropping? It's gaining in usage but dropping in opinion. Okay, let's see next. The next we have styling. What do we have here? The first one that throws here is the inline styling. We see that more people are using inline style, and they are positive about that, like very positive, which is good to know. Like, inline styling, why complicate stuff if you can just throw in some inline styles, right? So, but the positive opinion is crazy, like so much growth in positive opinion for the inline styling. People are happy about that. Simplicity. What do we see? And at the same time, style sheet is dropping. So people said like, I'm not going to do style sheet, I'm just going to do inline styling. That's how I understand this. But anyway, these two are the most used and also with the best positive opinion. So in this right quadrant, inline styling and style sheet is the go-to approach, because it's built in, like we don't need to learn anything new, we don't have to install any library. If we go here, we see a lot of emerging, like there is a lot of battle here for being the go-to choice of styling library. Style components dropping a bit. Yeah, I don't think style components are super useful here in this context. What do we see here? We see native wind growing in usage a lot, and I'm very happy about that. Started using native wind previous year, probably like in almost all the projects, and I'm very happy with using Tailwind CSS classes to style my React Native components. Native wind itself has become more mature and more stable, and this makes it even better and easier to use to style with class names. Yeah, Tailwind CSS has won the styling battle on the web, like everyone knows it. A lot of people are using Tailwind CSS, and we saw that people are coming more with web background into React Native, meaning that most probably they already have experience with Tailwind CSS. So it makes so much sense to reuse the same knowledge here in React Native, and the context switch between web and mobile is going to be way less for developers that are either transitioning from web to mobile or are working on both ends, like on on web and mobile. So using native wind, I think it's a great choice. Go ahead and check it out. What else do we see here? We see Tamagui taking a very tough left. Come on, why it's not clicking? Here it is, Tamagui. So even though increasing in usage, it decreased a lot in opinions. Here it's like a hard topic to comment on, because there is some beef around Nate and the Expo guys, and I'm not sure what's happening here. I used Tamagui in the past. I think it's great. I've built a project with their takeout. I have it still on the stores. So yeah, not sure what to say in this case, but it's quite the usage has grown. So, and Nate has said that he's investing a lot of time, and he tweeted these days that Tamagui is in a completely different state where it was a couple of months ago. So maybe we can check it out as well. What else do we have here? Restyle. What's this? React Native Unistyle. Yeah, this is one that also is quite good to mention. React Native Unistyle. Even though I didn't try it, we see the growth is huge in usage, and the positive opinion is quite good as well. And I think the growth is good because React Native Unistyle, because it's a drop-in replacement to style sheet. So you just drop it in, replace style sheet with it, and you get way more features, if I'm not mistaken. As I said, I didn't use it, so as I remember, better performance for no re-renderings. It enhances the style sheet. I think it also has support for theming, which is cool because with style sheet we cannot do that. Merging styles and so on. So yeah, this is something that it's a very easy way to replace style sheet and get some benefits in your application. And I would love to try it out as well. All right, another topic done, styling. The next one would be graphics and animations. Let's check it out as well. So here in graphic and animations, like everything goes to the left. Everything drops, as you can see in opinion. So why is that happening? I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't see that one. But let's review the top right corner with the most used ones. We see Reanimated being the most used library, and also with the best opinion, like it's the most to the right. Even though the opinion dropped from 2023 to 2024, it's still leading the way in being the easiest, or having the most positive opinion when it comes to graphics and animations. Reanimated is great, like it's very performant, and it's amazing to use it for animations. Highly recommend it. And with Reanimated 4, with the latest version of Reanimated, you're also going to be able to add CSS-based animations, which is mind-blowing, to be honest. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check the latest version of Reanimated with the CSS animations. Animated API, this is the built-in animation API from React Native. Drops in usage, drops in opinion, but still like highly used. I haven't used animated API in a very long time. Loti drops a lot in opinions, maybe because of some other things like Rive. I was thinking that an alternative that would be like faster animations, but Rive is still dropping. I don't know. What else? React Native Skia has been tested by more people, but drops in opinion. But still, the usage is quite good here for React Native Skia. React Native animatable. People are using Catalin's library. I'm happy for that as well. Okay. What's next? The next one is components library. In components library is something very curious that nothing is on the top part. Nothing is so used by a lot of people. So the battle is everything here. And in terms of opinion, we also see like a very tough battle because everything is here somewhere in the middle. Like not love it, but not hate it as well. Think components library is a tough place because everyone have their own like preferences and so on. But going from the top, like React Native paper is React Native paper. It's like the material, right? Yeah, I've used in a couple of projects as well. What do we have here? Tamagui UI, also quite used here, but again, dropping in negative opinion. Not sure if it's fair or not, but here is the data. What else we see here? Oh, this one. GlueStack UI. As we can see, GlueStack UI has gained a lot in usage. So going from here to here, and GlueStack UI is a great library for cross-platform components. I used it in a couple of projects. You can check them out on our channel. Yep. Ahmed is saying, I said it a year ago and now again. I got into React Native because of you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe we should have a different background option, like why, what's the background? Like why did you get into React Native? Thank you. I appreciate it. I wish Native Wind didn't have such a horrible performance. What performance issue are you encountering with Native Wind? Vladimir is saying notification challenges implementing navigate to specific route when notification press and app is completely closed. Always struggle with this. There is no easy way to make it with Expo notifications. Have you tried it with getting the first notification, like get last notification? Okay, so with libraries, we went into the whole journey of looking at all the topics here. And we're going to go a bit faster here for individual topics like state management. We already kind of saw, I don't think we're going to get a lot into details here because we talked like we did an overview of everything. Maybe something that we didn't touch is local first architecture. So local first architecture is quite low in usage. So only 25% of people are using local first architecture, even though the interest is high, like 94% of people would love to learn more about this. So this is an idea that we should do more tutorials on local first architecture. Going next to the data fetching, again, we're going to skim through this because we already talked about them. You can look more in details about all of them, like Polo client decreasing, Tanster query increasing by a lot, Axios with Fetch API being very good there at the top. Pain points of data fetching is caching. Just use Tanster query. Excessive complexity. Okay, navigation. So navigation here, what do we see? We see that Expo router is growing linearly, which is nice. If it continues like this, probably next year is going to be 100%. React Native navigation, right? And this one is React navigation, right? Yeah. No, React Native screens and React navigation. Perfect. Pain points. The pain point is Expo router. Why is that? Stacks are less explicit with Expo router. Expo router not so friendly to render custom tab bar. There is a new UI there. Docs is overly complex. Split layouts side by side. Okay, a lot of interesting comments here. Deep links are difficult, excessive complexity, and the others. And speaking about file-based routing pattern, usage is at 67, but positivity is 78, quite good. It means that people love a file-based navigation system. Styling, we did this already. What else? Styling experience. Pain points, light and dark theme. Okay, that's interesting. Cross-platform support, native wind. Native wind adds complexity to my code. Mainly just being reliable to install first place. Yeah, the installation is a bit harder, but they're like... Okay, graphics and animation. We already saw this. Let's look at some of details. Oh, look at this guy. Who is that? So, yeah, here reanimated is strong. It even grows in usage. It's the go-to choice in usage. Animated API from React Native is dropping in usage. And yeah, here it's not like super, it's quite easy to make a decision here. Just go with animated. Component libraries, again, like everything is decreasing in usage, or with the glue stack is from 7% to 11% is in usage. Awareness, interest, retention. Okay. There is more details about data visualization. When it comes to that, people prefer React Native SVG. Safe area context, people use it. The gesture handler, Expo image, the bottom sheet, vector icons. Nice. Debugging and profiling. I think this was a very huge pain point for React Native developers, and maybe it still is. It's not now. The good news is that it's not the top one pain point already. It's the second one. But yeah, debugging and profiling is one of the things that is challenging. We see that people, the main approach to debug is console log, console error, and so on. So the console API. I use that one. It's easy. It's straightforward. Doesn't need any setup. Element inspector with dev tools, performance monitor. Flipper is no longer a thing, so I'm not sure why it's here. And Radon IDE, which is a IDE that actually improves the debugging experience a lot. So check it out if you haven't already. Other solution for what? Sentry. Okay, debugging is tough and not interesting, right? Debugging profiling. What pain points with network? Okay, going next to the testing and monitoring. Testing. So Jest, a go-to solution to do unit tests. React Native testing library helps us use Jest and to test easier React Native applications. Storybook, a very good one. I'm not sure if it's necessarily for testing, but yeah, maybe monitoring, where you can build your components UI and to be able to have like a storefront of components that you can share with your developers and to test these components in a very isolated space. I don't have any tutorials on Storybook, but I think that's a great thing to do. So maybe we're gonna do something. Detox for end-to-end testing and Maestro as well. For analytics, people use Firebase Analytics. Okay, that's a lot of people use Firebase Analytics actually. It's the go-to analytics choice here. Mixpanel, Amplitude, App Center, Post Hoc segment. I want to see. Vaxo. I don't know. Crash reporting, Sentry, very good one. Firebase Crashlytics. Testing and monitoring. Okay. React Native architecture. What's here? It's about the new architecture. Yeah, the new architecture specific to React Native. Let's see how well people, how knowledgeable people are of a new architecture. Hermes runtime. I'm not sure how actually interesting it's going to be. Like native modules. Yeah. React Native version. Which React Native version do you use mainly? So here we see that most of the developers are using the 76, which is the latest stable version at when the survey was happening. And yeah, that's good that people are keeping up to date. And I think that's a big part of people using Expo a lot, because with Expo it's super simple to upgrade. If you would use React Native CLI, like it would be very hard. Like I had like some project with React Native CLI that when it came to upgrading, like I never came to that. Okay. Over the air updates, people use EAS update to send that. Perfect. Mobile and web code sharing. What methods do you do for that? React Native Web, which allows you to transform your like mobile application to also support web as well, to DOM component to DOM. No code sharing, independent projects. Okay, that's interesting. Common business logic and independent UI. WebView running mobile version of a website. Oh no, please don't. Solito, Tamagui, Monorepo, Explorer. Very few people are using Explorer for this. Okay, interesting to know. Okay, going next, what do we have? Build and publish. Here, App Center, I think, is being deprecated this year, so it's going away. So that's why we see a decrease in usage, because people started thinking like where to move. And where to move if you also want like automated solution, that could be either EAS build, which we see that it's increasing in usage quite a lot. Happy for that. EAS submit is part of the same EAS build. Fastlane would be the tool that actually EAS build is using Fastlane. So you'd create like these automations yourself, but you'd have to host them somewhere, and either manually with Xcode and Android, which I don't encourage. And we see the usage decreases of that because it's time consuming and hard. Bitrise didn't use it yet. Okay. Our solution, GitHub Actions, CodeMagic. Pain points is the stores, the build time. Yes, for me the same. Like the build time is killing me when I have to wait like 20 minutes to build a project, like after a small change, and then discovering that it's still there where a new problem appears. Next, DevTools. What's going on here? Config plugins, same usage. Ignite CLI, 10%. Expo Dev Client, React Native what? community CLI, decreasing in usage. Nice. Interest. Yeah. The CLI. The meta team previous year got the courage and actually recommended using a framework, more specifically using Expo, to build your mobile applications instead of React Native Community CLI. So that's why we see it decreasing in usage. Expo CLI increasing in usage, nice. But that's why I was saying that there is still a bubble here, because even though, Expo Go, Expo Snack, other cross-platform frameworks. What other cross-platform frameworks people are using? And I saw a question about Flutter. So yeah, Flutter is increasing in usage among React Native developers. Interest. It's decreasing in interest, and retention also decreasing, meaning people who tried it, if they want to try it again, and positivity also decreases. But I don't think you get like very accurate metrics about other frameworks in a React Native focused survey. But anyway, we see what's the most used one here at the top. It's Flutter, and then Ionic. What else? Swift UI. Swift UI actually is growing a lot. And yeah, in all of them, like retention, positivity, usage. So something interesting to check it out. Okay, so resources. How do people learn? Mainly through React Native docs, Expo docs, self-directed learning through probably videos, which might be YouTube. We see AI tools like ChatGPT, Copilot at 46%. Nice. Online courses. 41% of people are using online courses, and 23% are also using online courses paid here. Nice. Learning more. React Native docs, Expo docs, YouTube. Nice. Love to see this one here. Media, Stack Overflow. And look here, React Native Mastery. So 148 people said that they are learning through React Native Mastery, which is our course. I'm very happy to see it in the survey result. Thank you very much. Okay, newsletters and platforms. This Week in React by Sebastian is at the top here in terms of newsletters. React Native newsletter by Infinite Red. The Notjust newsletter by Vadim Savin or by notjust.dev. 127 people. Nice. Let me know if you are subscribed to our newsletter. You can go to notjust.dev/newsletter and go ahead and subscribe there. We send all the most important updates about React Native every 2 weeks. What else do we see here? Podcasts. Nice to see the Simon's podcast gaining a lot of popularity, and the Infinite Red podcast, React Native Radio, is the top one. Video creators here, we have Theo, Simon, William, and yours truly, Vadim. After that, the Primogen, Catalin, Farship, nice. Beto is here, Avon is here. And in terms of people who you read and follow, Avon is leading the way, and Beto's stable for a couple of last 3 years. After that, Mark is doing a lot of work for a lot of open source projects like Vision Camera, the Nitro modules, and a lot of more. So definitely check out Mark's work. Avon probably don't need an introduction. Avon is the main man, the man, the myth, the legend. William, Dan, Simon, Catalin, and Vadim. And Jamin, Expo, Theo again. Perfect. What else? And are we at the end? Or opinions? Let's finish it with opinions. React Native direction. Is React Native moving in the right direction? What do you think? Let me know. 48% of people agree and 40% agree strongly. I think that's a very good outcome and to believe that React Native is moving in the right direction. Is it overly complex? 49 said disagree, neutral. So yeah, majority disagree with that, but there is still like a lot of strongly agree and agree, like more than 20%. Is changing too fast? People are neutral about that. I think they are neutral because, yeah, it's changing too fast, but that's part of progress, right? And that's why we have to learn and keep up to date. And pain points. This one is a huge one. Unmaintained packages is the most painful problem. When I read this one, had an idea. Should we, as not just dev community, create a team of an open team from our community with people who would start maintaining packages, and we could take over like all packages that people are using and we can make them up to date. Just an idea. Debugging, yeah. And conclusion, that's it. That's the React Native, the state of React Native 2024. Yeah, very happy to see where things are moving. I'm very happy to see that the stack that I'm using, the libraries that I've been using for the last year, that I've been focusing a lot on YouTube, that I've been focusing a lot in React Native mastery. I'm happy to see them gaining popularity, gaining usage, and the positive feedback from the community. So yeah, I'm going to take, I'm using the state of React Native library a lot to plan the next tutorials, to see what people are interested in learning. So it's a great resource. So make sure next year to go ahead and fill it in as well. Okay, so that was the state of React Native. I wanted to do it in 1 hour. I didn't manage to do that. Finally, make sure to get your ticket for App.js conference. I'm going to be there. This is the best React Native conference out there. You're not going to regret it. Trust me. So we have a link in the description below. You can get 20% off. And I cannot wait to meet you in Krakow on 20th May. Thank you very much for everyone joining me live. This week we have more live streams coming, 2 more live streams coming. So it's a week of content. So make sure to subscribe to the channel to be notified when that happens. And I'll see you later. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.